Hello, dear listener. The podcast you're about to listen to is pretty great, but Max's audio is pretty terrible, and it's actually completely his fault. This time I didn't mess up, so yay. But anyway, he apologizes. Please attempt to enjoy the podcast despite the audio problems, and we will have them resolved by next time.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rule of Thirds podcast. My name is Max.
And my name is Sean.
Alright, you might be wondering, whoa, this is, what is this? This is a brand new podcast, but it's not Wednesday. Well, my friend, we've got some fun stuff for you tonight because we're giving you a brand new review of the brand new Fantastic Four, or Fan Four Stick, right during the opening weekend, as opposed to on Wednesday. We're trying this, we're going to see how it goes. How are you doing, Sean?
Good. I'd be better if I wasn't facing editing this episode tonight, but I'm going to be editing, posting it very soon, so you'll get it. Like, that's what's also cool listening. Like, if you listen to this as soon as it goes up, we recorded it like a few hours ago. Like, we said these words like a few hours ago. Whoa, man,
isn't that weird?
Man,
it's like people talk and then they record it and they post it online. It's
whoa,
like,
man, time.
What?
See, Max, I just realized you should have opened with, like, what is this? A new podcast on a Friday? Are we in some alternate dimension?
Oh, God,
See, this is why I should host all the time. I come up with that amazing comedic material. Step aside, Jon Stewart.
You
Too
got
soon?
me.
Too soon?
Well, right now, I'm just sort of, like, I'm still emotional from the ending to the Daily Show, which, as of this recording, happened last night. It was a great finale. It was wonderful. I'm glad to see the show, but I'm still emotional because I love the Daily Show and I love Jon Stewart and I wish him all the best.
Can I have a farewell that I just went through?
Sure.
David Tennant's doctor, I just caught up there. Now he's gone, so I'm still emotional about that. Terrible finale, but he did well. It was sad to see him go. Anyway, that was a fun sidetrack.
If you're ever interested, if you haven't watched the Daily Show, just watch the finale because it's just like a great way how to end a television show's run, or I guess a host's run. Look forward to Trevor Noah. Anyway, so today we're going to be giving you the Fantastic Four review. Yes. And because this is an early review, I guess we could call it like an early access review or something like that. I don't know. This could be like...
Steam Greenlight?
Steam Greenlight, but it won't be that buggy.
I don't know. I'm editing. I could throw in some fun bugs.
Let's not do this to like the few people who listen to this, the good people who listen to this podcast. So this is just like a brand new review. So we're going to talk about Fantastic Four. As you can probably guess, there's not going to be a Fantasy Movie League segment. That'll be for next Wednesday's show. And there's also not going to be a community segment because we just put the podcast up like 2 days ago. So
yeah, though to be fair, the people that would comment have already commented, but still, let's give other people time in case, just in case. So
yeah, so it's going to be fun. So we're going to talk about Fantastic Four.
We should probably actually get to talking about Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's just
this will be fun.
Do you want to know why I've been pushing this off, Sean, or can you take a guess?
Oh, no. Oh, God. This is
all right. Let's just get right to it.
Max. Oh, yeah. My respect for you. Like, could it get lower? I mean, if you say the words. Ooh. Okay.
John, give me your thesis.
Well, okay. Fantastic Four is exactly what it is, and by that I mean if you know its context, this should be no surprise the product we got. Fantastic Four is a studio terrified of losing an IP, so it, makes it scrubs it clean and makes it the movie as marketable as possible, and it's an indie director getting his first blockbuster that has no idea how to do blockbusters, and so what you get is a director trying to make an indie film, but his indiness is being totally washed over by the studio, and then a studio trying to get a blockbuster out of someone that doesn't know what they're doing. It's a mess. Nothing works. It doesn't look into anything. The climax is a complete joke. The powers aren't used. The effects are bad. The dialogue is cringeworthy. I'm trying to find something positive, but I'm really not that upset. This could have gone worse, but the situation, it was just a terrible idea. I kept coming back to that. This situation was bad from the start, and people, I guess now, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I feel like we should have seen this coming. I'll be giving Fantastic Four a 3. Excuse me, I got so emotional with the score. A 3.5 out of 10.
All right, that was good. It was good. So I'm going to give you my thesis.
I'm worried.
I have been on this movie's side from the very beginning, not because I was necessarily like super pumped for it because I wanted this movie to prove everybody wrong. This movie's been fighting an uphill battle since its announcement. And I wanted everybody to be like, man, this movie's gonna suck. And then it wouldn't suck. And then everybody would be like, whoa, this movie's awesome. That didn't happen.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. Oh my god. Fantastic Four is, to be frank, completely atrocious. None of it works. Everything seems to be kind of like jumbled around into this mess. It's a movie that has no interest in giving us a reason to care about its characters. It doesn't care about its characters or its plot or any of that. Putting aside the source material or the quality of the previous films of Fantastic Four, this movie doesn't give a dang about any of that. It doesn't care about characters or plot or any of that. It's a mess. I can't find anything positive about it. It was really tough to watch. I think the biggest problem is that none of it gives me any reason to care about what's happening on screen. Nothing says to me, hey, this is important and you should be watching this. Which is why I'm actually going to give this a 2.5 out of 10. Which means, if you've been following us, it is worse than Pixels.
When I think about it, I might drop it down to a 3.
Would you?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why maybe not, you know.
Okay, so I want to first point this out. Usually we do like a spoiler thing, you know, like we're going into spoiler territory now. There's really not much to spoil, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Also, this is not doing great at box office. And yeah, okay, you know what? Last episode we set the format where we kind of save some points for a spoiler at the end instead of making it the majority. Let's just continue with that. I doubt we'll have a big spoiler section though.
Yeah, if you've watched the trailers, you've kind of seen the climax. And
which is here's the thing. I don't know if I tweeted it, but I was thinking it, and I know I talked to you about it, Max. I said, look, these trailers are generic and bland, but isn't it amazing that we don't know anything about the plot? Funny story, we did see pretty much everything in the movie.
Yeah, it's really weird. We saw, like, all the plot beats.
It's just that nothing happens.
Yeah, it's, like, nothing meaningful happens to these characters. Like, okay, so I guess we should start with the story, with the plot, or, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a lack of plot, it's just not good at all. Like, I was watching this movie with a good friend of mine, and he pointed out that as just a general moviegoer, he was very put off by the time jumps.
Yeah.
I wanted to first bring that up. So the first time jump we get is like, hey, it's weird how it's just a little kid in 2007. That was like when we were that age.
Yeah.
So like we have this guy, he's, it's like 2007, then we jump 7 years. That's okay. That's fine. That's, the catalyst of character. That's a fine thing. Then later on in the movie, and I guess this is a spoiler, so after a very important plot beat, we jump a year ahead, which basically means we're skipping over a bunch of really important character detail that is completely neglected.
Okay, you know what? No.
What?
Stop everything. Listener, you don't care if we spoil the plot. You might think you do. Okay, you might right now, you gotta go, no, I don't want to. You don't care. You will see this movie and you will say, you're right, John, I didn't care. So let me just say, I was happy for a second that they skipped the whole getting used to their powers bit, which was overdone, and origin stories, it always slows down the film to do that. But at the same time, they get their powers, and we skip a year ahead. How about we see how these characters react to it immediately?
Yeah.
How about we get some sort of something, like we jump ahead and they're already like, this is the new norm. Drama doesn't come from new standards being set, it comes from the change. And so origin stories, yes, they can fall into that pitfall, but that's also what makes them good a lot of the time. It's like, here's this normal person that, wow, I can light on fire and fly. Let's see that. Let's not just jump to Johnny Storm later and make up some new drama with his father and stuff. Give us the drama of what just happened. We didn't get that from anyone. It just jumped ahead a year. And it was just done. It was just done with addressing that. It was just walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Like that, and that's the thing that we'll have to get into with characters. Yeesh. Of course, if you've been following along, you can probably tell that basically what happens is they get the powers, and then we jump a year ahead, and it all is explained what happened in the past year with an exposition dump.
It's like,
and if you've been following along, you know how much I don't like exposition in general.
Yeah,
so
this is a good point to bring up. A good thing to bring up. This is barely a superhero movie.
This is a movie that doesn't this is like a superhero movie that was made by people in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like fictional characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who don't like superheroes.
Yeah,
it's like some kind of warning.
What was the point? Okay, so much of the movie is just them. And here's the thing. it's a cool, like that's good. Like I don't want a super movie that's just bang bang explosions all the time. But like, it's hard to really explain. But they just don't use their powers. Most of the movie they don't have them. At least it feels that way. That's probably
Yeah,
not
okay.
true.
Yes, I will agree. However, I will also say that even though they don't have the powers, there's nothing going on anyway.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I just want to address the basic problem of, come on, you got to embrace that you're a superhero movie, because it's almost like the movie didn't want to be a superhero movie, because it takes them forever to get powers. And when we actually see them using their powers, they're in a training center, and like the Human Torch. The first time we see the Human Torch using his powers, he's shooting at fans. In a training thing, like
like drones,
and the Invisible Woman is shipping carts. Like, come on.
What is this? Infamous Second Son?
See, that's a video game tutorial. Your movie should not be compared to a video game tutorial. There, thank you, Max.
Well, really, it's a video game. It's really like a First Light kind. All right. Anyway, the point is that is like
it is like First Light.
Yeah, it is more like First Light.
It's way better.
Yeah.
And
basically,
about as long. Sing. It's a decently long game, whatever.
Yeah, video games. Actually, it's funny how you mentioned how I brought up video games unconsciously when video games is actually a lot of little references here and there.
Really?
Like how in the beginning a lot like it's a power cell that's completely fueled by a bunch of Nintendo 64s.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I think that was the processing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was just a bunch of N64s, and then also in Johnny Storm's car, there's a fire flower. On the
I did appreciate that.
Yeah, I know that Josh Trank is an actual like video game dude, so I appreciated that. But
so here I gotta get my giant list of other things I appreciated. It's blank. That must be the wrong list. Oh no, that is the right list. Anyway, what else about the plot? Like, can we talk about how the climax is just a joke?
The climax is barely a climax. It's not built up to anything. Like it's just kind of like
amazed. Like I thought we were hitting like. About to go into the third act.
You remember you sent me a direct message.
It's an hour saying
it's 100. Yeah, it's 100 minutes. That has got to be some kind of record. Now I didn't judge it.
Like that's insane.
Yeah, that is insane, and it's a bad thing. See, I don't get
yes.
Yeah, people say that like this movie is too long. This movie is too long. This movie is far too short.
Because
now I wouldn't want to sit through 30 more minutes of it, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Right, and so this climax, man. Because did you have the same reaction where like? I mean,
I was like, this is not actually the end, guys. Right? You're going to end it like right here.
We were ending the second third, and it's like, oh man, they went back and they got Victor.
Yeah, because we just got Doom.
They changed his name to Von Doom. Like, that, did you notice that?
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
In the movie, while it was being made, he had a different last name from like the Ultimate Universe. He's not Victor Von Doom because that's kind of silly, so they changed it. But then recently, apparently, before the film's released, they changed it to Victor Von Doom because the fans were, up in arms.
Don't give in to the fans. Never give in to the fans.
Guys, that is the least of your problems, man. I wish how naive you were to complain about a character's name. But anyway, like they just got him back, and I'm like, oh man, now the villain's back. Now we got a third act brewing, and then it's the climax. Like just boom, just there he escapes without any build up. He just escapes. And then he's starting the most generic climax I have ever seen.
It's like it's like all it's just a checklist. It's just like you gotta fill out the checklist. It's got we gotta have like cool superhero getting pinned down. We gotta have all the heroes pinned down at first. Like in Ronin, hero, your guardian. That part. Like
right.
Then you gotta have like one hero like get up and try something new, and then everybody else gets up and tries something new, and then like oh man, it's. Wow, this movie actually imitates the climax of Guardians of the Galaxy to an extent. Just like,
a little bit.
Not the climax, but like that part starting with the the crash landing. Yeah, it's just, it's.
And this climax, and also, can we just, this is a good segue. Can we talk about like just the action and just how there's like none?
Yeah, there really isn't. This is okay. I will say this is not a superhero action movie. It's much more character driven, but that's another thing entirely.
Well,
but it's.
Okay, that goes back to my thesis. So, the climax kind of shows this climax, the amazing choreography in this climax is the Fantastic Four run at Victor Von Doom one at a time, and he throws a pile of rocks at each of them one at a time. And then they're like, we can do it together. And then he throws rocks at them, and it doesn't work this time, and they win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was that, you guys? He just... And it was the stupid... I said before, the generic sky portal beam. Oh, my goodness. Avengers did it, and it was a bit cliche, and it just
People complain like, "Oh man, Avengers: Age of Ultron is bad because there's too much going on." You want to talk about bad superhero movies? Let me show you.
There was this great tweet. I wish I could credit who it was, but I don't want to pause the podcast to look it up. But he said, the people that don't appreciate how good of a job Marvel is doing, just look at other companies using the exact same playbook. And that's true. Because
did you know that Fantastic Four is supposed to take place in the same universe as X-Men?
There are rumors.
Yeah,
it's not confirmed.
That's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's beside the point. I will also say, while we're talking about the plot, is that the writing is so terrible.
Yeah,
it's like, can I say, Sean? It's like Goyer levels of terrible.
Here's the thing. Goyer doesn't know how to write the human language. This was just so. That sounded so harsh, but man, do I not like his movies.
Yeah, he's not.
What I would say with this movie was, the word that kept popping in my head is obvious. Like, every line is like, okay, what do I need to get across here?
Children.
Write it down. Yeah. Or like we got to know
everything.
Him.
There's no subtlety.
Right.
It's
every line is just exactly what you'd think. There's no insight. There's no line that stands out. It's just dialogue, and like it's not like it's bad for me, at least. It's just there's not a single elevation. It's just there.
Yeah. And actually, I want to credit this movie for founding the trope of like this is the second time this happened this summer of a superhero movie ending with them saying something iconic and then ending. That's like a new thing now.
That was so annoying. I was in
the theater
with my friend, and I just
say it again. Fantastic. What did you say?
Don't do it.
It's fantastic, guys. I have an idea.
And then it cuts. Oh my god.
Like that. Okay, that goes for like all this stuff. Flame on. It's clobbering time. All that stuff. Or it's clobbering time. It's technically like all that stuff. Shoehorned in the movie terribly. Like just terrible. Now
it's like it didn't want to be a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, it's just like
it's like the movie itself, under its breath, was like, "Flame on, it's clobbering time, Fantastic Four," because it didn't want to be embarrassed by it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like it. See, I know a lot of film critics say that like in the early 2000s there was this weird thing where superhero movies, up until Spider-Man, were very ashamed of being superhero movies because nobody took them seriously. This feels like that, and it's 2015. That should have been dead a long time ago.
Movies are the thing to be.
Yeah,
you want that.
It's let me say this one thing. This is like, I don't know if this is a plot hole, but did you ever get the feeling that with Doom's final plan, that it had nothing to do with the Earth at first? He's like, I'm going back. Okay, so what happens is Doom escapes. Yeah. He's like, I'm going back home. He's like, no, you need to stay here. If somebody has killed some people with their mind, you would probably want to let them go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, you think if he leaves, he'll be like, okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to stay there. I'm going to create my own world. And then all of a sudden, Earth is dragged into it. Like, it has to be dragged into it. As opposed to just letting him go and just letting things be. Like, do you not really... Like, do people not... Like, am I putting a CinemaSins... Like, a really stupid CinemaSins thing on this?
And see, that's why a lot of times that sort of critique or complaint is valid. Because in this case, it is because it shows how forced it was. Because Doom had no plan. He was just chilling on his planet. And then he comes back and is like, I'm going to ruin your planet now for reasons.
And, it's like, it's not even, the stakes are...
The fact that it came out of nowhere isn't like nitpicking plot hole. It's, this movie did not set up its climax. It just said, oh, wow, we're like, nearing the end of our runtime here.
In a super boring rock quarry, for that matter. Like, really? Yeah. Like, if we're going to go to another dimension, could we not make it, like, a little bit more interesting?
Yeah, seriously.
And not to mention, okay, let's see. Let me make a... We should move on to characters.
First, I want to talk a little more about the action, because it actually moves to another thought I had. Maybe special effects really quick.
Ooh.
No, we'll get there. The action. How little there was of it. And really, that's all there is to say. Like, it was... Like, I don't really remember, except the climax being just rocks. And boom, the Fantastic Four is defeated. Our heroes. But the fact that there's so little action speaks a little bit to, like, it didn't want to be a super movie. But you said it was more character-driven piece, yes? That's why I wanted to bring some now, because it'll transition to characters. And here's where my thesis came in. Because this was trying to be a thesis-driven... not a thesis, a character-driven piece of, like, what happens when science goes too far? Or all these things of, like... And these characters interact, and it's but that's not what the studio wanted. So that's what I think this dissonance is because they were scrubbing clean an indie film and trying to make an indie film a blockbuster. That doesn't work. It was as shallow as any blockbuster while focusing on indie film stuff. So you get blandness and boringness. If you're going for an action movie, there's barely any until the very end.
Yeah, and that's like I don't think that's
7 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think it's inherently bad for this particular movie, but like it still just feels like we're just going through nothing. Like when the action isn't happening, it's really boring. Going into these like really, let's see, is this appropriate for the plot topic? I don't know, but like it just the overall thing feels very like just kind of plotting through nothing.
Yeah,
plodding through like okay, that's what this movie is doing. That's what the plot is doing. It's dragging through nothingness.
Right now,
it's just like
here's the thing. This is why I'm giving it a 3, and I've like nothing positive to say. But I will say this movie was way worse in hindsight, and that has a lot to do with the plot and your idea of like plotting through nothingness. Because while I was watching it, I kept thinking, why like this is supposed to be terrible. This is supposed to be a 23 on Metacritic. Yet I'm fine. Like I'm not engaged by any means, and I don't like these characters' dialogue or care at all. But like, why isn't this just openly terrible? And I realized it's because the entire like it felt like, oh, this is a lull in the story, and that was all the time. And so there's nothing terrible about feeling like you're in a lull of the story. It's just not interesting. Movies do it. It happens. You know what I'm talking about, right, Max? Where it's like, it's just the story has to get some stuff done, and then it'll ramp up again, and you'll be interested again. You just kind of have to sit it out. If you're a great film, you can probably avoid this, but most movies, they can't help it. It happens.
Yeah, you just kind of have to get, it's about pacing. It's
right.
The best kind of pacing, like, is like it hooks you and then lets you just kind of sit down for a little bit, and then it stands back up. It's like sitting down and standing up.
Right, but I'm talking about the necessary evil sometimes of they have to get through some stuff, and it takes a little too long, and you just kind of sit through it. It's not that terrible. You just have to put up with it. That was this whole movie. And so for me, it got way worse in hindsight. Because
it was all built up to nothing.
While watching, the plot was just going. I'm like, okay, now what is happening? But that's fine, whatever. But then after, I was like, that was the entire movie. That's not okay for an entire movie. And it wasn't building up to anything. Like, if it had, like, just the best climax ever, maybe get a 4. But it was bad. It was a really bad climax. Like, it was building to nothing.
Yeah, and, okay, so yeah, with all that said...
My point was... It was trying to be all character-driven instead of superhero, and it failed at both. Why did it fail at the character part, Max? You really want to get to this, so let's do characters.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, my biggest problem with Fantastic Four, regardless of where the source material has come from and what the source material is focused on, it actively does not care about its characters. And as somebody who's starting to really believe that great movies are ones that hook us with the characters before the plot and the action, and whatever else, it comes with it. This movie just has no sense of characters. And then you add on the fact that this is the Fantastic Four, and the whole thing that makes these guys so good is their interactions. It's kind of like an Avengers type thing. However, these guys focus as a unit as opposed to multiple powers coming at once. Again, forgive that source material, it's already bad. Put in the source material, it's even worse. This movie's characters mean nothing. There's no development. There's no arc.
Right.
There's...
Let's break it down. Miles Teller. He's a genius that has no problem not being accepted. That really threw me off. Because, it's a trope to be like the nerd that's like, why aren't I accepted? But it really threw me off where the sentence was him and his parents. He said, I wish I was adopted. Right? He's like, and he's just like, oh, we just don't understand each other. And like, he was fine with it. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm a nerd, super genius, and people don't really gravitate towards me, and whatever, that's fine, whatever. Oof, shrug that drama off. It's like, that's not an interesting character. Like, if you had presented it differently, yes, that would have been interesting, because most of those type of characters do care way too much about what others think. But as is, he just didn't care. And then we got some guilt about what he did, but he did just run, like, and he was like trying to build a teleport. I didn't get anything. Mm-hmm. And then what? Sue Storm didn't get any arc.
Oh, Sue Storm got nothing. She was. This movie seems thoroughly interested in giving any sort of female character a voice, which is really stupid considering that we're like the industry as a whole is really starting to move into treat female characters
and your
with a lot more attention.
Said from the studio that brought you Days of Future Past. the entirety of the stakes of Days of Future Past came down to the decision of a female character.
And
Come
this
on.
movie, yeah.
And everyone
Now-
loved it. It's not taboo.
Now, while we're talking about Reed Richards and Sue Storm, I
Yeah.
will say the one thing I liked, and this is kind of weird because I'm liking something they didn't do, is that they did not push a sort of romance
Yes,
onto it.
but again,
even though they
that's-
kind of made her the object of multiple people's affections.
Oh yeah,
with,
well, they had that
Victor Von
trope
Doom.
of the main character is flirting with the girl, and then it cuts to the villain looking. He's like, "That is my girl to flirt with." It's like, oh
Yeah.
god, come
It's
on,
like,
you're Victor
she's
Von
mine.
Doom. Okay,
Yeah.
you're this sorcerer,
I
time
don't know-
traveler, decades old, conquering the earth because you've seen the future and you have this burden that you have to. You don't
Yeah.
care about who's hitting on Sue Storm. I'm done. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Actually,
done.
Sean, you're more of a comic guy than I am. Is Victor Von Doom ever into Sue Storm? Is that a thing that he has?
No,
Okay, yeah.
and Doom is a really great villain because that's what hooks me about Doom is that I don't know if you know this, but his thing is that he's seen the future, and the world falls to ruin unless he rules it, and he knows this for a fact. And I think that makes the character interesting because he's doing all these horrible things, and he's like, guys, stop stopping me. He hates
Yeah.
the Fantastic Four. It's like, if you knew what you were doing, you would stop ending my plans. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to
See,
save.
that would have made for an amazing movie.
Yes,
like
he
that.
comes back from this world, this other dimension, with the knowledge of, and they even were, oh my goodness, they were hinting at it. Why didn't they do this? Because it was so awkward. Where it's like the planet's being destroyed by all of you, and it was really phoned in. Well, it's important, the whole global warming thing. It was so forced in. What if they were building up to that? At least that would have been closer to the comics character and given this villain something.
Yeah, but
If he does
and
come
of
back
course-
and says, I have to save you from yourself, and that's why I do evil, that's a way more interesting villain argument than just, I'm going back to my lonely planet
Yeah.
of nothingness because
Sure.
it's better.
should we go full on into Doom, or should we focus on the other
I feel like
two
I already
fantastic?
did.
Okay, all right. I'll say that the fact is they introduce him. Even though they introduced him early on, they also put him in way too late.
Yeah,
like
that's
I
it's
don't
a
care
weird
about what he looks
combination.
like. I don't care about what he like.
Oh, I
you
do.
know,
We'll
what
get
he-
there. I want to get there.
What do you about? Yeah, we'll do like
We'll get to
look-
special effects. It's I have
Yeah,
a few
special effects
points on
and the
that.
look and feel of it, which
Yeah.
I have a lot to say too.
Mm.
Like forget like his design or whatever like that. This character had nothing. He just came in, did some evil stuff, and
See,
then like
I could
he's
tell they
kind of
were
the one reason why the climax meeting's nothing because he's
Yeah.
so forced in.
And I
Like
think
what? Why do we have to do Doom for every origin of Fantastic Four?
Because
I know
he's
he's
like-
an important character, but
he's like their only villain.
what about Galactus? I mean,
Oh,
like I know
that's
he's a
too
Marvel
big.
villain, but
That's
Doom
too
is
big.
more of a Marvel villain. Like, okay, people keep saying Marvel will sell back the Fox will sell Fantastic Four back to Marvel because this movie won't do well. Fine.
Oh,
what
we'll
they're
get
really
there.
doing is selling back Doom to Marvel because Doom can provide to be much better villain in the MCU
Yeah, but
than
hey,
the Fantastic Four.
MCU doesn't really do great villains. So
It's true, and maybe this would be the first one. Maybe.
yeah, because it's there. I like Doctor Doom. Good villain,
Yeah, exactly. So
but not in
what-
here.
Yeah, here he's given nothing like this,
Yeah, seriously.
and not to mention the actor who plays him is really not
well, like
good.
that's
I mean,
what was weird
nobody
for
is
me,
good in this. Let's be real. Nobody is good in this.
and
No.
I don't think it's their fault.
Yeah, they were working with some serious bad material.
Because, okay, well, just a quick final note on Doom.
Yeah.
What kind of irked me more about the character is that there was something to this character before he had the accident and became Victor Von Doom. Like,
Yeah.
there was stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he was
Yeah.
talking about how he left because of the corporate masters, and it was all cliche, and everyone was like, oh, wow, they made him this hacker activist, and this is exactly what they were afraid of, so go in ready for the preachy, we are Legion Victor Von Doom. But at the same time, that was something. But then as soon as he comes out, he's just, I will end your world. I talk in monotone because it's apparently intimidating.
Yeah.
Wow. It just, ugh. Anyway, we should probably do Johnny Storm and the Thing.
Okay, so, well, what is there to say about the thing outside of this guy does not emote? Jimmy Bell, he does not emote. He does
Yeah.
not. I see nothing in him that makes me think that he is going to emote anything. He's
And-
just
okay.
like,
I hate the trope. They did it here where, I mean, look, I agree it was not a good move for Reed to just vominos and leave, especially
Yeah.
then. But there is this trope where they set up these best friends, and then, like, the second there's drama in the story, there is this cat fighting between the two. It's like, I'm not your friend. That was verbatim a line in the story. In the movie, by the way. I'm not your friend. Stop it.
yeah.
Stop it. Have you ever had a jeez, it just that's not how friends are, and especially because there's like they
Yeah.
were set up to be like best friends since elementary school. This was like the drop of the hat. Movies that are starving for drama, just like, oh hey, let's pit them against each other.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that was so dumb, and it didn't even build to anything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all was forgiven at the end for no reason. I love, like, during the climax, Ben, right, the thing, he's in the bigger rocks, and he's like, Reed, help me, and Reed doesn't, and he breaks free on his own, and everything's fine after. Like, wait,
Yeah.
wouldn't you, like, be upset he didn't help again? What are you doing, movie? What
Mm-hmm.
are you doing?
Yeah, and his character psychology makes no sense. He's always like, I need to find a cure. But then he's totally, like, enjoying what he's doing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and at
you can
the
enjoy
end,
something while also leaning towards a goal, sure, but it's never
Right.
really clarified as to whether or not how he actually feels about this job. He's like,
okay, sorry, finish. Didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, go for it.
Okay, that's a good transition to Johnny Storm because they were doing something interesting with this character. There was one scene where I was like, "Ooh, let's explore this," because he was the only one that said, "Why do we have to get a cure? You said I should do something more meaningful." He's talking to his dad.
Yeah.
What if
That's
it's
the
this?
thing.
That was
That could have
interesting.
totally been awesome if there was a cure and they choose not to do it.
Right. If Johnny was
SML,
faced with
building
a
better
cure.
Fantastic Four movies.
And what's funny is, guess what? That's what the first Fantastic movie did. Remember? But it was Ben.
I don't
Ben
remember
had a
it.
cure, and he cured himself, but then he had to rethink himself to save his friends. This movie didn't even do something
yeah, I now
like
remember.
that.
Yeah.
It didn't even do something like that. Johnny
Wow.
Storm showed, like, I like this, and he was willing to, work with the government and all that, but we never built on it. And we never found out why. It was just like, you're not my real dad, even though, ironically, his sister was the one adopted. But it was just these daddy issues that is so overdone nowadays. Like
Yeah.
this type. You can do great father-son, like, drama, and there's obviously stuff there. You shouldn't shy away from it. But this type of just, stop treating me like one of your students, dad. Again, direct line. I didn't inflect it like Michael B. Jordan did, but you get the point.
Okay, yeah, I will say, regarding Michael B. Jordan, I can tell he's trying so hard.
Look, all of
to
them
push
are.
this out.
Miles Teller's apparently one of the big up-and-comers, though I've seen him in Divergent only.
He was the worst part of Whiplash, to be honest.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll see.
really
Well,
was.
so do you know...
Kate Mara is awesome.
It's really good.
If you
Not in
if you've
this.
seen House of Cards, you know that she's awesome. No,
My
don't.
ass blinds.
Oh God, no. She just seems to be like she.
Hey, Max,
she seems to be
this movie is the train wreck, not as a
Oh
comics.
God, no. Let's hope that she does better in like The Martian or whatever. And like she's all of her dialogue is just basically like exposition dumb. This is something that I've seen in a lot of blockbusters with female characters. The smart ones are supposed to be like empowered because they're smart. Just dump a bunch of exposition, science, techno battle. And that's not good.
And they tried to set up the character with like, I see patterns, and she like listed it out for us. But hey, I was going to give credit for, you're assigning something to the character. Even though, it was listed out. It was like, I like patterns and this and this and this. Speech about my character and I'm quirky. Really early on in the film was like her introduction. But then it doesn't go anywhere outside of just, we can't find him because they can't seem to find a... And she's like, pattern? Keyword for my character?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so
it's
forced.
super like hitting you over the head with these things. And the movie, and I don't normally say this, but the movie thinks it's very smart when it tries to do these things.
Really? I
the
didn't get that
filmmakers,
sense.
not the movie, the filmmakers think they're just so smart when they hit you over the head with these, insanely interesting bookending character types. And it's like, no, it's not.
Look, there's a smart way to do that where it's like
there
meaningful.
is, yeah. It's not here,
love
but
bookending.
yeah.
I love bookending. That's something that
Yeah, me too. I love bookending
I put
stuff.
in all my stuff. Like, I love bookending. It just gives a nice sense of closure. And like you said, Max, it lets you reflect on how much has changed because it reminds you of the beginning of the story. But this is just, hey, I do patterns. Has nothing to do with the story.
It's
one
a pattern
time,
of nothing.
pattern. That's it.
Yeah.
And
So okay, I will go back. Let's see. I would
other
definitely
character
say that
stuff
Michael
is
B.
there?
Jordan was trying his best. It does and I just want to say this for the record. It does not matter that he's a man of color casted as the Human Torch. It means nothing. It's still
Right.
it's still a crap job, but it's not because of his race or whatever. It's just because it's bad. And I will say, I love Michael B. Jordan. There is evidence to
Yes,
suggest
I've
that
heard
he is a
he's so
freaking
good.
phenomenal actor.
I haven't seen Fruitvale Station. I want to.
You should, because it so proves that he's so actually good. He's
I've
just,
heard, and that's the
they're
thing.
all trying their best to work with material that just does not work.
Again, this script. And man, there was one line from Miles Teller where he's just looking at the portal and he's like, the portal, it's linked to Doom. And like, it sounded like that. It was just the most forced read. And like, this is terrible dialogue.
Miles Teller I still don't think he's good yet.
Well, you should see Divergent and tell me. He's not great
No,
either.
I'm not gonna. I'm no. Whole adult just still watch a movie. No, I'm not gonna watch that movie.
Don't go down the rabbit hole that is Divergent. You saw my tweets.
Yeah. Let's see.
What else is
so
there?
characters,
I want to do special
none
effects.
of the other supporting characters mean anything. Just for the
and they
record.
totally just axed off this Sue and Johnny Storm's dad, and it like had no impact on them.
It's the stupid death of the sage trope that you see in all of Joseph Campbellian works. It's like, yeah, of course the old guy's got to die. It's like, yeah, I've been seeing that very often in movies recently. That's fine.
Like, no,
I guess
the effect is good. Like again, I always come back to Star Wars because it is like the hero's journey. Obi-Wan, it was a good story beat that he died there because it forces your protagonist to face the new challenge on their own now. And like the situation is now more dire because they don't have that guiding figure.
Yeah.
But
even though to be fair,
it was already done.
Yeah, Obi-Wan already comes, like, Siri does come back and help Luke out in the end anyway.
That's true.
Which is, I mean, okay, listen, let's not do that right now.
Yeah,
but yeah, they just totally acts up the cat. Yeah, Von Doom, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's terrible. Like, again, everybody in this movie is terrible because they're working with material that's not good. Actors are important. Actors are very important. Speaking as a director, actors are insanely freaking important.
Can elevate mediocre dialogue into amazing.
Something amazing, yeah.
But like, if it's this bad, you can't save it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis would read this script and say, "You're on your own," and just walk away.
Yeah.
It's funny. I say that to like make a point, but he would. Why would Daniel Day-Lewis sign on for Fantastic
The last
Four?
thing I want to say regarding this, and I don't think I've pointed this out, even though this is an incredibly important part, is there's no chemistry.
Yes, good. I'm glad you brought that up. And that's the thing. This is supposed to be Marvel's first family.
There's never enough time to have these characters have chemistry, but when they do, there's nothing there. There's nothing.
This is supposed to be Marvel's family. They don't. They don't feel like a team.
They point this out a few times, like we gotta be like a family. It's like, but you guys have no, like. Listen, I guess this sort of has to do with actor selection, I suppose. You know, that's got more. But like, you've also got to give time for them to develop with each other. Don't give. Like, it's like this movie wants to be Fantastic Four while also having all the characters develop by themselves, even though there's no actual development.
Yeah.
Like, it does not want the characters... It does not want the Fantastic Four to develop. It wants Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm to all develop by themselves.
And then they forgot to develop those.
Yeah, and then they forgot that entirely. So I can see the intentions, and that's already a stupid idea, even with source material put out of the picture... And it's, but they still fail anyway. It's like a failure upon failure upon failure. It's like that's what the movie's tips.
Like it was trying to be like a mini Avengers, where it's like each character gets their own little like arc, and then they come together in a meaningful way.
Yeah, but the difference here is that Avengers had their own movies.
Yes, they had movies. And even if it was a tiny arc, like Thor just learned to be less arrogant, it was there. And
but even if you took out the previous movies in Avengers, you'd still get the story. That's the main point why people love the Avengers. Because it's
I'm so upset at myself for comparing the two. I'm sorry, Avengers. I'm sorry. That's the second time this podcast. You don't deserve that, Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's like that. There's no chemistry between anybody. It's just like...
There's like one flirty scene and one like... I am your friend, and you found where you belong, Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Like, that was it in terms of, like, actually building relationships. And what? They established the super crucial Ben and Reed Richards, relationship by, use this screwdriver. Yes, super genius didn't know how to a Phillips screw, needs a Phillips screwdriver. God. These tiny things aren't getting to me.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that these actors, like, when they interact with each other and say things, it's never... ever clear as to whether or not they're saying it to the actors or just saying it out loud as part of the script. Like, it's a weird thing I've just noticed in this movie. It's that, are they talking to the characters or are they talking at the actors? And I think they're mostly talking at the actors. They're just saying lines they're supposed to be saying. There's no actual chemistry. They're not trying to get to know the other character. They're just, like, saying things because that's how it's done. That's bad direction.
You're not going to like this, but you brought it up. I think you'll appreciate the joke. There was a very recent Nostalgia Critic joke, just hear me out, and it was in the Garfield movie, and he played this exchange, and he said, wow, I totally believe that those actors were told to say that. That's this movie. It's so believable that was the awful script, but there is nothing else on top of that. It is just them saying it.
Mm-hmm. So, bottom line is, everybody's terrible, and there's no chemistry whatsoever. And especially for a Fantastic Four movie, that's really important. That was dropped. Even the first one had pretty good chemistry, right?
Way better than this, honestly.
Yeah, and it's like, I think I should watch the first one again, just to see how that did.
Oh, it's still not good.
Okay, it's still not good, but, like,
and it's way cheesier. Like, this is probably bad. It's bad in a way different way.
But that sounds a lot more, like, familiar to what Fantastic Four usually is. I mean, Fantastic Four was, like, the first big silver like first big Marvel Comics of the Silver Age. It wasn't Spider-Man, it was Fantastic Four in 1962, as opposed to Spider-Man, which was 1964. But anyway,
okay, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Sean, you know comics more than me.
No, I know about the Silver Age and how terrible it is. But anyway, okay, moving on to effects and look.
Yes.
This movie looks terrible.
Yes, you go with that. Yes, I don't
it's
have
so
too much to say
murky and gray and downpour. No, like downpour? No. And so down, like melancholy, and like so uninterested in anything. Like it's like I would say it's a poor attempt at mimicking like Nolan stuff. But let's not even do that. Let's put this movie on its own thing. We're not doing any sort of. This movie isn't trying to ape anything other than a weird interpretation of what a superhero movie should be in the 21st century. Which is
at the same time, it doesn't
dark,
want
joyless,
to be.
Not fun.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't want to be a superhero movie. So it's like
true.
Mimicking the thing it hate. I don't.
Yeah, again, it feels like this movie was made by anti-superhero people in the fictional Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, let's create some characters, like the Fantastic Four, right? And they have all these generic powers. And let's make it look like, and which brings me to my biggest point about the look and, like, the approach. How they discover their powers is done in this weird body horror kind of way that's so incredibly tone-deaf, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Can we get
like
to effects?
the music, the cinematography, the angles, the editing, all of it makes it's like this weird monster movie when it really shouldn't be.
It shouldn't.
It really makes no sense with these characters.
Doom's reveal, but you didn't do
that's
Doom
fine.
finding his powers.
Yeah,
you just jumped
Doom,
in on him a year later.
Yeah, it's weird. It looks like I'm not gonna say Cronenbergian, but it looks. The way these characters, even though they have such simple designs, or play out. I mean, literally, Sue Storm goes invisible. This Fantastic can stretch a lot. Johnny Storm is a flame monster, and big. And the Thing is just a big rock guy. Like that's literally it. And before you say that it's not actually rock or whatever, it's actually rock in this one. Like he gets pummeled with rocks that are like special rocks.
Yeah, I'll give them that. The reason they got their powers is like way clearer than the original origin story.
I guess,
like
but it's
Space
so
Wave.
cheesy. It's like, he gets fire, so he gets fire powers. Oh man, he gets rocks, then he gets rock powers.
Can we do effects?
Yeah,
because
sorry.
Really,
this movie looks terrible.
Right, and I wanted you to have that rant because I agree. But you said it you said it better than I would. So I'm glad you did that. But I want to go to effects because
dang right I did, Sean.
Let's go down the line of from looks best to worst.
This is going to be one heck of a rabbit hole, Sean.
Yeah. So at the top, we kind of have a tie between John and Sue Storm, Johnny, because at times the weird fire eye face looked bad, but most of the time, actually, Johnny Storm looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
it looked like real fire more so than
except when it was close up on his face. That was like
as soon as it got too close, he looked like those. What is it? They're like lava monsters from some movie. I cannot think of it now. Oh, moving on.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then Sue Storm, the force field looks solid. Her invisibility is easy enough to do now, and it was fine, right?
Yeah.
So those
nothing special, nothing distinct. It was just all right, just make Sue Storm look invisible and do force field. There you go.
Done.
All right, we're good. It's like the first template for force field in the program to make superhero effects. If there was a superhero effects making program, this would be the template, the default for force field.
Someone should make that. I'd buy that.
Yeah,
and make tons of home.
Everybody would buy that. Every aspiring filmmaker would buy that. So go to go.
Yeah, and then next down would have to be probably The Thing.
I don't think he looked that bad.
No,
honestly.
he didn't. But there were moments where, okay, let me say this:
his eyes,
they were normally, and it was weird.
Yeah,
and it is weird that he doesn't wear pants, and it just has a triangle torso, and his legs come off like a doll.
Yeah, it
weird. Was a weird design of the body, and the face looked okay most of the time, but sometimes up close looked really funky.
Yeah, exactly. It was
not as bad as it could have been. The first images released, people were, saying it looked terrible, and it did. It looks better now, but still not good. And then we get to Reed Richards. And this stretching looks awful.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, here's the thing. This is a comics character where what does stretching an arm look like in comics? It's longer lines that are colored the same shade of blue. It's not weird looking. And then, even in live action, most of the time in the old movies, he was in the suit. And so it still looked like just stretched blue nylon and whatever. It still looked weird, but that looked way better. Here, you can always see his actual body stretching. And it looked awful. It looked disgusting, and it didn't look convincing.
Yeah,
Like,
and again, it goes back to the weird like approach, like as if this is like a monster movie thing. It's like,
yeah.
why would you do that?
Like the shot where he's crawling in the vent and his torso is like 5 feet long. It was just gross looking. It
And
wasn't.
then, of course, what I think will become a very famously bad shot, his weird face jumbling thing.
Oh,
that he
yeah.
does. Oh, boy.
Gosh.
So basically what happens is he's, like, a different guy because he's in hiding or whatever, and then he kind of looks like Reed Richards. I wasn't sure what he was.
Yeah,
and he gets in the car and, like, he just stretches his face to make him look normal again. And it's so, like...
It looks so bad.
Oh, God. It's like ILM watched this, and they were like, oh, my God, who hired these people? Like, who hired these people to do these things?
This?
Actually, I will say, okay, that's not fair. These people like probably did a lot of good stuff. What I mean is, the approach was so bad. It was so blatantly bad. It wasn't good. And
then we get to do
really, yeah. Okay, I want to say this. I don't care that much. I think he looks fine personally. I didn't really care that much because I was so into all the other bad parts of the movie. So I don't care that much. But you probably do.
Well, here's why I care. Because he looked fine. He had a weird-looking cloak, but
I actually like the cloak.
off.
I think it looks like
he could. If it was a little less like bulky, it would have been really good update of the green robe cape, which looks a little too comic booky for nowadays. So I get they wanted to update it. His skin being all metallic, it looked really good. The fact that he didn't move his mouth was actually really good. And I was like, wow, they actually didn't mess this up. I'd seen some photos, and those clearly were, like, older and didn't work. But then his eyes glue. Eyes started glowing. And it looks awful. Because as soon as his eyes started glowing, his eyes suddenly became way too close. And everyone made the joke because it is the first thing that will pop in your head. I claim no genius for making this comparison. He looks like a crash test dummy. He does. He looks like the eyes are so close together. His face looks so slender and pushed in. He doesn't look human. And it doesn't look scary. It looks silly.
Mm-hmm. And I like the costume in the original Fantastic Four movie, or the second, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a lot better. I liked that a lot more. Because I think, wasn't that put on by choice? Like he looked horrible, so he fashioned himself, instead of like being fused with this weird metal elemental
which
thing.
I think, again, this is based off the Ultimates comic series origin. I think that is the origin.
Wait, what is?
Their whole origin. Because, like, the original Fantastic Four, they get hit with a space wave.
Oh,
but
okay,
in the Ultimate Universe, it's this alternate dimension traveling.
Okay, I thought this was an original thing made from the movie.
No, it's based off the Ultimate comic. As I understand it, I'm almost certain. Yeah, I've read it enough. I can say what's
push up these nerd glasses. All right.
Excuse me. The Ultimate Universe origin.
The Ultimate Universe is so much better than you.
Wow, that was a terrific voice right there, Max.
Oh, please.
Please keep that up.
Please, I am a nerd. I got that underneath.
And actually, just while we're on Doom and just kind of like effects, it's related. I should have brought up sooner. What was Doctor Doom's powers exactly?
Telepathic brain explosion. Brain explosion.
But then he could shatter doors and.
Here's the weird part. None of his powers make any sense, and none of his character psychology makes any sense in conjunction with those powers. Like, for example, he blows up the head of a bunch of people, and then he like fries the old guy, like Johnny and Sue's dad. Then he just throws the other guy aside. Reed. He just throws Reed aside.
He looked at a hallway of like SWAT team guys. No, they were in an army base, so they were like full trained army, like Navy SEALs. He just looked at them, and their heads all like exploded. And yet he's having this hard time with a stretchy guy because he can grab his arm when he didn't expect it. It's like, what are you doing?
Or the fact is, like, right when he was anticipating it, like right when he was in the middle, like right when he's walking away, he just throws Reed aside as opposed to just killing him like he's been killing everybody else.
And
because he's gotta survive. The weirdest part though was when like this woman was screaming in pain, he just destroys her. Like that was just, again, it calls back the idea that when the superhero movie tries to be a superhero movie, it's like a horror movie. It's like they can't be like this. It's like an anti-superhero movie, which is probably what this whole movie is.
And honestly, if this is like the herald of, when I say this movie, okay, I'll hold it for the end. Never mind. But remind me to bring up something about.
So, the effects are terrible, and it looks. And I will say again, the cinematography, the colorization, it's all awful. It's a very boring movie to watch.
It's funny when I kept hearing like it's just dreary and depressing and like over exposition and it's all grayed out and
don't
annoying
tell me.
cinematography and all that.
Don't
What?
say it.
What?
You're not about to say Man of Steel, are you?
What? No, because that was way different visual style, and it had some good shots. It looked like
here's the thing. Okay, people complain about Man of Steel. You have a new target, so go destroy this movie.
I will destroy both. Thank you very much. Only we're in agreement this time.
Let's see. Is there anything else we need to go over?
Well, what I wanted to say really quick is like when I kept reading those reviews, I kept thinking to myself, is this what everyone thinks Christopher Nolan movies are like? Like, is this what people see? Because it's so dreary and all the characters are like, dark and brooding. Actually, you know what? That's not true. Let's address that really quick. Comedy. This was like a checklist of Marvel movie because they tried to do the
one-liners,
banter. Those characters.
They try to be Whedon, and you can't be Whedon without Whedon.
That moment when Reed Richards did the high five and Johnny Storm did the fist bump and Johnny Storm looked all like, "What are you doing, bro? How funny!" Sorry, that was me over any attempt at comedy this movie had.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it was too horrible, but it wasn't funny. It was just like, okay. I guess the fist bump thing I think was a little bit okay considering, like, I mean, I don't know, Reed Richards was really enthusiastic about stuff, and then, like, it kind of shows they have no chemistry. And, like, that's supposed to be a character thing, but it's also, like, a thing with the movie. It's like, these guys are so bad they can't even, like, register a joke about how little chemistry they have and make it look like they actually don't have any chemistry when they already don't have any chemistry. Okay. Yeah. Are we done? Are we at the end here?
I mean, what else is there to say?
There's not much. Guys,
this was longer than I expected because we just, mostly me, went off.
There's no, it's all good. There's no silver lining here, gang. It's like, this movie is genuinely terrible. Like
here's the thing.
Okay, alright, I want to say this. I say it's worse than Pixels, and let me explain
exactly,
why.
Because Pixels had the silver lining. The visual effects were cool.
Yes. First off, the visual effects were awesome in Pixels. Like that, and also, Pixels was never trying to be anything more than what it was. It was never, aspiring to be something great. I mean, not to say that, it wasn't, ever going to be good, ever. I just mean that, it was very self-contained, this little fling with a bunch of characters and weird effects, right? Fantastic Four was building up to be this huge fantasy opera with these characters, with such tragedy, and it's never built, it's all built up to nothing. It's built up to nothing.
It's nothing.
The fact is, it's a lot more, not rage-inducing, but just a lot more, concerning when I see a movie that's, not trying to be anything, and a movie trying to be something, and the movie trying to be something is actually worse, because when it tries to be something, it's terrible.
And it's not what awful. It is. You're not a horror movie. You're not an indie drama.
I'm not saying be funny and lighthearted because you can only be funny and lighthearted. I think you can totally do a Fantastic Four dark, brooding movie like this. I think it's totally possible, but just not like this.
Right. I mean, okay, let me think of it this way. It's almost as if the writer, director, producer, whoever's to blame, and again, we'll never know exactly
everybody.
who's behind.
I mean, I'm going to say everybody is on. It's on.
Whoever is to blame. It's like they didn't know that you can make a character-driven, with some horror elements, superhero movie. It's like they don't get what a super movie is. They're like, super movie, isn't that nerdy thing where it's like pew pew and weird, I don't know,
it's kind of
flashy powers, and we don't want that. We want to do this body horror. We want to do this indie drama. We want to. You can do both. You can do it all. Superhero movies are
an amalgamation of a bunch of different genres.
And it's a beautiful way to explore things. It's such a interesting, flashy way to talk about way more universal things.
You know what this is, Sean? You know what this is? This is like it was directed by somebody. You know those obnoxious people who talk about how much they hate superhero movies, how much they can't stand Marvel Studios? It's like a movie that was directed by one of those people where it's like, it's all based on character and not just mindless action, and it's all based on dialogue and tragedy and personal gain, when there's nothing here anyway.
Oh, the assignment was to make a superhero movie, but I did something way beyond the superhero genre. I have character interactions. I have elements of another genre, horror. I went above and beyond this assignment, Professor. Pretty much like that. Pretty much, yep.
Yeah, pretty much. It's we should stop wasting our time talking about this movie so much.
We should do final...
Yeah, final thoughts. Sean, give me your final thoughts on this piece of crap.
Well, again, my final thoughts come back to, it was a terrible idea. This was not the right director, and this was not the right mindset
thought
for the
this would be a bad
studio
idea?
to
I
be
mean,
in.
no disrespect to Josh Trank, even though he's been handling the situation poorly.
Yes.
But, like, who
But here's
thought
the thing.
that guy should do it?
He clearly doesn't know how to do a blockbuster, because even when it goes to just the most basic level, okay, give us a flashy climax, it failed. And that is something that, like, every other super movie that I've seen recently has done. Even, like, X-Men Origins Wolverine. I remember that climax. Wolverine against X-11. I will not call him Deadpool. I will call him X-11. Like,
That was the climax of the movie?
Right, the nuclear
No wonder
plant
people are pissed.
being lasered around. Like, you remember that, and that was a really garbage movie. But here, it's just, you failed at this most basic thing. He was wrong to do this. And also, I wonder if this is why he dropped out of Star Wars. I think it was a combination of he knew he couldn't do blockbuster, and he didn't want to deal with a big studio again, because he had such a bad experience with Fox telling him what to do.
Yeah.
And so all this together is a terrible idea. Studio was in a bad mindset. Director was poorly chosen or poorly experienced at the time. And it's a bad movie. And don't see it. It's, again, like Max said, doesn't have a silver lining. And I'm going to say it. This very well could be, and I'm going to qualify this. So Max, you're going to reject me immediately, but bear with me when I'll explain what I meant. This could be the herald of the end of the superhero craze. Now, what I mean is, there's no room for newcomers. Like, there's going to be the Marvel, there's going to be the DC, and X-Men's lucky enough to be a part of it, but I think studios are not going to be able to break in again. I think they're going to freak themselves out and control too much like this. They're going to, fail, like, try to be each other too much and fail like the Green Lantern movie did a few years back. I think this is the breaking point where we say, we don't have room. And the studios aren't going to be able to capture the magic again. So we're going to let the existing movies go through in this genre. And hey, something might spring up again, and I might be totally wrong. But we might be facing the end of the newcomers. That's what I mean by that, is that this was supposed to be the third option. Did not work.
All right, I kind of see that. I will say that, like, I think the true end of the superhero craze will happen when something like the Avengers Infinity War, like, disappoints completely, like Phantom Menace levels of like people getting angry.
Don't say that.
Okay, I'm just saying, like that. Yeah. But that's beside the point. The point is, my final thoughts on this movie are as follows: it's terrible, it's atrocious. Fantastic Four is not only one of the worst movies I've seen this year; it's one of the worst movies I've seen in a few years. Like, I don't see that many bad movies, honestly. I don't. Right. Like, I'm very happy about that. I don't get exposed to that much bad video games or movies or television shows. I don't, because I guess I'm just very lucky.
Me neither. Yeah.
But this is really, really bad. Like, this is like terrible, awful garbage. I don't know why I'm not giving this movie more than a 2 or 2.5, but like, it's really bad. The only thing is the parts that are good are the things they didn't do, like a romance between Reed Richards and Sue Storm. I can tell they were building that up for like the sequel, I guess. But there's no way. There's no way this movie's going to get a sequel. Yeah. And there's no way they'd ever be able to do that, because based on the filmmakers' attempt at, I don't know, female characters, they probably screwed up anyway.
Can we, like, address that really quickly? Look, Amazing Spider-Man 2 killed the Spider-Man franchise. And Spider-Man is, like, one of the most recognizable superheroes out there. Sony gave up that IP because of Amazing Spider-Man 2's critical and commercial and fan response. It made money. It was in like the 50s on Metacritic. It has like a 6 stars on IMDb. Like, that was just a lukewarm to negative response and only disappointing box office. Yeah. This is apparently bombing a box office. This has a 2.3 on IMDb. I mean, a 2.3 Metascore. It has a 23 Metascore from critics as well. I remember because it was matching. They have to stop it. They can't do the sequel, can they?
No.
Like,
no way.
I would hate to be at the Fox meetings right now, and they're like, what?
Well, no, not until Monday. Monday's going to be a really bad day for Fox execs.
All the executives at
But at the same time, it's kind of your fault, guys. So
when will studios learn to just stop it? Because if the studio hadn't pushed in, I think we would have at least gotten a more deep movie, even if it like wasn't as good, or even if it still had the elements of hating like the superhero genre, it felt like at points. At least it would have probably done more character stuff, because it would have kind of been the indie vision.
Which brings me to my final point. Recently, Josh Trank spoke out against the studios and said the studios cut this movie down for 100 minutes, and it kind of ruined his vision. I can see the vision, Mr. Trank. and it's boring as hell. It's super not good. Like, it's, like, I can see it.
That's a great way to put it. It is super not good.
Yeah, it's fantastically bad. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No,
but anyway,
totally
yeah,
do.
we should probably get out of here. We've got other things to do than talk about this piece of crap movie. So, yeah, that's our thoughts. Let's, what do you think of the Fantastic Four movie? And, is there any other franchise that you think has never gotten a good movie?
Yeah,
ever?
that's one
From
thing.
the
No
start.
one likes the Fantastic Four movies. Like, it's
Yeah,
never
all 4 of
unanimously
them.
agreed.
Even the movie that didn't come out.
Right.
People don't like that one.
Well, because, it didn't even come out, so
Yeah.
clearly not that
But anyway,
bad.
okay, we should just get out of here while we still can, Sean.
Yeah.
Anyways, until next time, folks, my name is Max.
And my name is Sean.
All right, guys, we'll see you guys in the next podcast.